Hello, it's David here, and I'm working on a, this is a Tyco Manuta, and it kind of runs, but the problem is I got it kind of cleaned up, but I can't get to the insides of this to finish cleaning it because they rivet the motor to the chassis. So the only way to clean these properly is to drill the rivets out. So then if you drill it out, what are you going to do? Well, I went and bought a package of 2.5mm by 20mm screws. So what I have to do is drill this out, clean it, and then use those screws to put it back together. Alright, so I drilled that out, and you can see this has to be cleaned. These wheels are pretty dirty in here. The axles, that all has to be cleaned up pretty good, and so we'll get to that, get that all cleaned up and properly clean this here, the commutator. And before I do anything, I need to get all this debris off of this rag here. So I've skipped over a couple of steps here because I forgot to hit record, but I took this whole thing apart, cleaned the chassis on the bottom and the wheel axles and the little brackets to hold them in, and put some new 2mm by 20mm, I'm sorry, that's 2.5 by 20mm screws in there and nuts. You just want to make sure that they don't go down below this here. Make sure you have enough clearance so it doesn't hit anything. So I already tested it and it runs fine. So I'll put the rest of this together and I'll take it up on the track and see what happens. Alright, sometimes when working on these, you spend a lot of time, you clean it up, and from handling it, some of these wires will become brittle. And this one here, you can't tell, but it is barely connected. So I have to fix that, strip the wire back and resolder it on there. So we'll get to that. I didn't want to do this, but the motor here that is from this locomotive, it keeps binding up on me. I don't know what it is, if there's something stuck in there, and I can see on one side of this there's actually marks on it. So fortunately, upstairs in my box of parts I had another motor that I put in here and put that back together. So yeah, a motor that I paid $1 for, that I've already used gears out of and other parts, and it's paid me back again by just getting the motor itself out of back in this one. So let's put this together and see how that works out. So when you put these back in here, there's these screws and springs that hold the truck in, and they kind of want to go their own way. So if you slide it, I'm going to get my hand out of the way here. You slide a piece of paper in there that will kind of guide that in where you need it to. So then you could put that in there. And slide that out. You can also use a toothpick to line that screw up. So that's a lot of work for my ugliest train that I have. It's a shame that all this chrome paint faded off of here, but let's see how it runs. Pretty good crawl speed on that.